What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What are you doing, Miguel Ramirez? I
forgot the hourglass.
So, everyone, how is your day?
How is your week?
How is your life?
Going.
There we go.
You like that one better?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for the noise.
Being all crazy, being all loud. So, as Miguel had mentioned regarding goals, we agreed to
jumping right into it. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
We did. We already
right.
asked them how their day, how their week, how their life is going. Right? So might as well just jump into it. Happy Saturday, everybody. It's nice and beautiful. We got some sun out here in Arizona because it's been very gray these past days, right? Very gray and gloomy. And
and wet.
I'm excited. I like being wet, but not when I'm outside.
Not like this. God damn it. You know
Anyways.
what? I thought we were going to get into parenting and you go into this stuff. You know.
You got me
I have no idea what sound effects to have ready.
You got me off track. It's your fault. So anyways, I prefer the sun. I'm all about the sun. It makes me happy. I feel like a dog looking out the window, you know, when
like
they're
our dog.
in the car, right? Or when they stick their heads out the window, you know, and all dogs are super happy smiling. That's how I feel when the sun is just hitting me in my face.
That was, today we were
totally me.
Well, it's like Sonja said, today's Saturday, when we're recording this, and the first thing in the morning, we had to wake up early
at 7 o'clock on a Saturday, guys,
to go get the kids to their games.
Yes,
because the kids are playing basketball, they're playing baseball, and because of all the rain, the baseball game that was outside got canceled. So I had to fill in as the coach for this week, and so we go out to the baseball field. And we're just sitting in the car. They already said the game was canceled, but I didn't want people to show up and me not be there.
Right.
So we're just hanging out for a few minutes, and the sun is coming through the window in the car.
Passenger side.
On the passenger side, and it's hitting Sonja right in the face. Now, we have one of our dogs, Nisi.
Yes.
Whenever it's like a really nice, beautiful day outside, you will catch Nisi. Like, we look through the window, and she'll be outside in the sun, and she has her face facing towards the sun, and she's got her eyes closed. Yep. And she's just sitting there enjoying, like, sunbathing.
Smiling. Like, she's just smiling. And so I told Miguel. Miguel looked at me, and I'm like, I feel like Nisi right now. The sun just hitting me. Big old grin on my face. Anyways, so Audrey won her basketball game.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah,
So she's doing well. Joey was a little bit upset because his game got canceled. But, dude, Joey is doing very well. Yeah. Like, you and him were throwing, the ball, and he was catching, and he was throwing it back. Yep. And he's actually starting to enjoy it, which is so good. Because at first, I could tell, like, he was getting a little bored and really not into it. But it seems like he's maturing a bit. And, he's starting to like it. So that's pretty good.
You know what's cool, too? We had one of the episodes that we had a guest on in New York with Joe Palumbo, my cousin. Yes. And that was a great episode. If you guys want to go back, and, it was about business and,
great.
The grind and the vision. And he's built, something incredible
several
out there in New York.
Too.
Yeah. So he's done very well. But the business that he has now, we talked about it there, where he had different kind of businesses, but now he has one that's related to his passion,
right?
Which is baseball.
Yes.
So, he's my cousin, and their kids, obviously, they got into baseball. And he's got a legit professional baseball training facility. So every once in a while, I'll be scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, and he'll post pictures of the kids training.
Yes.
And I show Joey, I'm like, hey, Joe, check it out. I was like, look, this is your cousin. I was like, look, he's practicing. And he's like, where's the ball? Because he was practicing swings with elastic bands and all that. And he's like, where's the ball? I was like, he doesn't have a ball. I was like, he's just practicing his swing so that he makes sure he swings the same every time, and he does it with good technique. And I was like, that's what he's doing. He's practicing. He's like, wow, that's cool.
Right.
So, it's pretty neat.
Good stuff.
Pretty neat.
So Miguel and I, we decided that we're going to do a book for the month. A book, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the goals that we had for this year was to read a book every month.
Yes.
Learn something new.
Yes. And so we're always looking at becoming better, and parenting is one that's forever like ongoing. Like, you're always questioning yourself whether you're raising, your children correctly, right? Because I know we've got some issues,
Oh,
especially you. I mean, not
what the. Really?
I'm so funny.
I didn't come here for this.
I'm funny. But we just finished the book Raising Lions by
Joe Newman.
And it's an amazing book. And what did you get most out of it?
So what I got most, I actually just finished the book a few minutes ago. And what I got most throughout the book was that you can't let kids get away with stuff. You just can't.
Yeah, you have to hold them responsible.
They have to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is that the way you do it makes all the difference in the world. Well, actually, yeah, it does. But I think a lot of times, especially in today's society, people get tired of the struggle and the fights with the kids. And we get tired of it.
I mean, it's exhausting.
We get tired of it.
It's so exhausting.
So when the kids, it's crazy, like the manipulation tactics. Mm-hmm. And they probably, because I don't know if
it's learned.
They realize it.
It's learned.
Maybe it's like a subconscious thing that they start to develop. Like they don't realize that they're manipulating everybody.
Well, this is the thing. I noticed that at times I would manipulate them to get them to do what I want them to do. It's a learned behavior. I mean, he talks about it in the book. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
And then they just get it. They see it, they get it, and then they just get even better at it. And we don't even realize that they're manipulating us to get their way. Well,
so from the book, what I was thinking is like a lot of times people will give up because they don't want to keep fighting.
Right.
Or they'll address it, but not in the right way.
Yeah.
Like by either giving too much information or whatever. I mean, you guys have to check out the book, Raising Lions by Joe Newman. It's a great book. But one thing, well, there's a couple things. If you guys are telling your kids something to the effect of, no, thank you, we don't do that here, you might want to look at how you're handling certain situations with the kids, because there's a lot of like new age parenting where everything is so soft.
Yeah.
And, this book is about mutual recognition of the child, but the child also recognizing the adults that are around. And it's kind of like being mindful of other people. Like, yeah, you have your wants and needs, but that doesn't trump the wants and needs of everybody else.
Yeah. So you were talking about some parents just give up because it's just too much energy. There's just too much energy, too much time, and therefore they end up giving in to the kid's wants, right? And I remember you specifically doing a homework assignment with Joey.
Yeah.
And you have such a great relationship with him. And I remember this day, like coming home, and you just absolutely felt like shit. Like you felt really, really bad because it was doing homework with Joey would bring such a negative
vibe.
Yeah. Between you guys' relationship. And it's like, I'm not a teacher. This is not what I went to school for. And you ended up making an appointment with the principal.
Yeah.
Because you were just so fed up with it.
Yeah.
Because and I'm sure many of you parents can relate to this. Like, we want to have a good time with our kids. We want to enjoy them. Like, they're only young for so long, and this is not a memory that you want them to remember. Like, you always on them, scolding them on them, regarding homework, assignments, all of this.
Well, when I was going through that, and that wasn't that long ago. That was like a couple,
a couple weeks ago.
For those of you that have listened to the last few podcasts, that was a couple podcasts ago. But I was just in that moment, I was thinking about his memories. What are his memories going to be of me?
Right.
And I was like, fuck, man, we have so many great great memory, like the fucking happiest, the best times. And then he's going to have memories of me losing my shit.
Right.
And I'm like, this can't be right.
Right.
This can't be right. The way, and it's not him. I mean, it's got to be me.
So you took it upon yourself, though, to meet with the principal, and you got what you needed, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
even
you got reassured.
Yeah.
He gave you some different ways to handle it. And
yeah. I think, not a lot came out of, some came out of the meeting with the principal.
Right.
He did reassure me that Joey is on track and
right.
he's doing what he's supposed to be doing and all that.
But he also told you pretty much to just relax.
Just relax and ask him questions.
Right.
And I think part of what I got from it was kind of like what I already knew. None of this shit fucking matters. Like, really. Like, I'm going to lose my shit over what?
Right.
He's going to learn the reading. He's going to learn the math. You know? And if he wants to learn more, he will.
Yeah. So, and this is why we feel like it's important if you are a couple and you guys are going through some things together. The greatest thing you could do together is read together, learn together, discuss together, because you got something very different out of the book than what I got. Not very different, but what stood out the most to me was holding them accountable.
Yeah.
But it's like connecting the dots for them, like asking them questions. Like, and I'm going to give you an example because this is the thing. You can read all the books you want to read, but if you're not practicing what you're learning, you're going to lose it and forget about it. And you just wasted an entire month reading a book because now you don't even remember what you read. So it's very important that the knowledge that you gain, you put to work immediately. And so that's what I've been doing, is just focusing on what I've learned and putting it into action. And so, you know, just as an example with Adriana today, I asked her to clean her bathroom. Like, that's her bathroom. And I asked her to clean her bathroom and she did it, but she didn't do it well. And she knows. Because I told her, I said, Adriana, I've seen the way you clean this bathroom before, and this is not it. It was a disaster. It was a mess.
It was half-assed.
Yeah, big time. And so she was throwing a fit about it, about not cleaning her room. She went into her room without me knowing and was laying in bed, feeling sorry for herself.
Yeah.
And I had to go in there. And I had to explain it in a way where, listen, today's Saturday. I want you to you go to school, right? And you have responsibility during the week, jiu-jitsu and basketball and all this other stuff. Today's your day off. And I want you to go enjoy yourself. I want you to go spend time with your friends. I want you to have fun. I said, but I also need you to clean your bathroom.
Yeah.
You know, and the decision, you have two options. Clean the bathroom, go out and have fun, or don't clean your bathroom and be stuck in the house and no tablet, no nothing, like nothing.
Yeah. And
leaving her to make the decision. I'm like, you have the power.
Yeah. It's giving them options. Now in the book, they talk about like, it's not, you don't always want to give them options because some people give too many options.
It depends on
options all the time.
Right.
Like, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want, it's like, no, you get some options. And kind of like, instead of asking, where do you want to go for dinner? Would you like to go here or would you like to go there? And that gives the kid some power, but it also lets them know that you have some power. Because you're picking the restaurants, but you're also letting them make a decision too, you know? Yeah. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And it goes with homework too. Like I, talked to her, about, because they said that she was missing, some assignments. Yeah. So the big thing that I got was just getting them to realize that they do have some say. They do have options. And whatever they decides the outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's them taking responsibility for their actions and for their decisions.
Yeah.
And knowing that, if they're pissed off about not going and playing, it's like, I'm sorry. I wanted you to go and play, but you made the decision to not do it. But it's not so much like that, me telling her. It's her almost like telling it. It's getting them to realize that their decision caused the outcome. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This consequence.
Yeah. Because we treat them as if they don't know.
Well, now you just said because you, I don't know if that is the best way, because you're saying you're kind of
talking
pointing
to you.
No. You right now you were explaining that they couldn't go outside or whatever because you decided not to whatever, No,
it's getting them to recognize
what they were talking about in the book is like, I want you to go outside.
Right.
But when you don't do this, then you can't do this.
This is right.
So in order to do this, you have to do this. Mm-hmm. Instead of like, you did this, you didn't do this, and you fucked up. You know what I mean?
Because if you talk to them in that manner, they immediately, they're done listening.
Yeah.
They're done listening. And that's with husband and wife too. I mean, you can use these same concepts with your husband or your wife. And another thing was giving too much information, like you were explaining, like, you don't need to tell your kid what they did wrong. They already know what they did wrong. Give them an example.
The other day we were having dinner and I told the kids, hey, make sure you guys pick up all your stuff, throw it in the trash. Don't leave anything on the table. And my saying to them always is, I want this place to look like you weren't here. I don't want to see your shit laying everywhere. Like, clean up after yourself.
That's what I'm going to tell you upstairs in the room. I want it to look like you don't live here.
It's my fucking room. That's the one place where it needs to look like I live there. But anyway, so I was like, look, when you guys are done, clean everything up. And okay, cool. So I go upstairs, I come back down, shit all over the table. And I'm like, well, and this is something that we need to talk about. We'll talk about it in a second. But I was like, well, when you don't clean up after yourself, then you have to clean up the kitchen. Like, the kitchen is yours now.
Yeah.
Because normally we kind of do it together. Usually it's me and you that clean up the kitchen after dinner. And then the kids go take a shower and they get ready for bed. But I'm like, well, when you don't clean up after yourself, you got to clean up after everybody else. So, and that was just, and it wasn't, the thing is that not getting angry, or it's just kind of in a very calm, not judgmental.
Well, you forgot something though.
What's that?
You told Audrey, she's like, why do I have to clean the kitchen? Why do I have to clean the kitchen? Because she was the one who left her mess, not Joey. Joey cleaned up after himself. Up everything. Yes. And she asked you, why do I have to clean up the kitchen? And you said, do you remember what you said?
No.
You said, if I have to tell you why you have to clean the kitchen, then you're going to be cleaning the kitchen all week. But if you can tell me why you have to clean the kitchen, then
you'll clean it tonight, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. And then she ended up telling you.
And then she said, because I didn't clean up after myself.
Right.
So she knew.
Yes.
Now, the wrong thing, because that's the manipulation, is where, and it's not that it's like they're bad or whatever. That's just they learn this shit.
Yeah, they're kids. Yeah.
And they're going to use it to their advantage. But they figure out that if they just keep asking questions, you're just going to keep fucking talking. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and sometimes, so in this book, they have different scenarios, which that's why we really recommend it. But there's different scenarios and different ways to address these different things. There's sometimes when you do want to give information. There's sometimes when you don't give any information and only consequences.
Right.
So it just depends.
Yeah. Like one more example. He gave another example of a boy in school. Okay, so he was in school, he got this paper airplane, and the teacher's facing the class, and he goes and he throws a paper airplane. And the teacher just simply ask him, to just pick up your things and just, go sit in the back on the table, back table. And he's like, why? And he used that same thing. It's like when you see them do something, immediately, like there's no giving them information on what they did or why they need to do this or why they need to do that, because they already know, so he did the same approach that you did with Adriana. He had the little boy say, what he did wrong, or, in order to lessen. And he said to say it very calmly. Like, it's not like you're upset about it. It's just like, hey, pick up your things and, take a seat in the back.
Now, with Joey, I had a situation where I had told him to do something earlier in the day, and I didn't check it till later on in the evening, and it wasn't done. And I can't remember exactly what it was, and it may not have. I don't know. I think it was Joe, but it was one of those things that in this situation, and I think you didn't know because you were telling me like, don't tell him, and like you don't need to be telling. Maybe you were on that part of the book. You're like, don't tell him shit, just make him pay. You know?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, hold up, I can't do that.
You know? That's right. I remember. Yep.
Because because the thing is that if I just make him pay, he's gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't even know why I'm being punished.
Yeah.
So in that case, I was like, hey, what did I ask you to do earlier? Whatever. Did you do it? No. Okay. These are the consequences now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that case, you would give some information.
Yeah.
In like the case like you said with the paper airplane, it's like, so, you don't give information.
This is funny. But if any of you guys trained a dog, right? In order to discipline your dog, if he shits on the floor, you have to catch him in the act. Yeah. You have to catch him in the act, right? Uh-huh. Because other than that, he's not going to know why he's getting in trouble. Like, I took a shit. That shit was there since yesterday. No. Yeah. What am I getting punished for? No, he doesn't know he took a shit yesterday.
Who put that shit there? Me?
All right. Why am I getting in trouble? Looks like the cat shit.
But so in the book, just to kind of run down the last couple things, but in the book, one thing that they said was giving consequences is like a thermostat. You want to give a bunch of little consequences because when your thermostat, I mean, obviously you guys know how it works. When the temperature rises a degree or two, the AC or the heater kicks on to regulate the temperature.
Right.
You're not going to wait till your house gets to like 95 degrees to turn on your AC. Your AC is constantly just doing its thing. So the same thing with kids, because if your kid does something and you let it slide, does another thing, you let it slide, does another thing, you let it slide. When you finally go to give that consequence or you go to address this situation, a lot of times we fucking lose it. Yeah. And I lose it. I mean, we've all lost it.
Yeah.
Instead, the best thing to do is give them short breaks, little breaks for everything. And that will start to address their behaviors.
Yeah. Do you remember growing up, maybe about Audrey's age, when things got tough, how would you respond? Do you remember? Like, how did you react when things got tough?
When she was young?
Challenging. You, babe. I'm talking about you. Yes, you.
I'd get angry. I was frustrated. Angry? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I don't remember myself at that age, but like Audrey, I see so much of me in her. And I think that's how I connect with her so well, you know, because there's times, you know, like I had to talk to her today because she just she was very sad, like in this state of mind.
In her feelings.
She was in her feelings, right? And a lot of us, we get in our feelings. And there's days where we don't want to go outside, right? We want to stay in our pajamas all day and maybe go and binge on some Netflix, right? And eat a gallon of ice cream.
Right. And cry.
And cry.
Right?
And cry. And that is okay for the day. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us, there's times where we just need to take a time out and we need to gather ourselves. And it depends on where you're at in life, because if you have a business, you know, shit has to move forward. You know, if you don't have anyone else that can take it on for the day, like you need to fight, right?
There's times to buckle down and get it done.
Right. And so I had to have that conversation with her today because it's like she was in her feelings. And I'm like, listen, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, this is where everything begins. She's 11, by the way. And so I'm like, either you're going to give up and stay curled up in this bed, or you're going to fight for what it is that you want. You know, stop being down on yourself, right? Stop beating yourself up. You know, if there's some things that you need to get better at and that you want to get better at, then get out there and start getting and start practicing. I was talking to her about basketball, like, yeah, it's time to start practicing. It's time to fight for what it is that you want. It's not time to curl up in a ball and wish that everything's going to go away, because things don't go away that way. Like, you have to face them. And yes, you have to feel what you're feeling. It's okay for you to feel the way you're feeling,
Yep.
But there's times where you have to get up and go. And I gave her, some stories, some things that I've gone through, as a child or even as a woman. We own a business. Like, there's things that must continue to move on, or else the bills aren't going to get paid. And there's days where I don't want to.
It's like, I can't cry right now. I got to keep working.
Right.
And maybe I'll find some time tonight to cry tonight,
Or in between appointments.
Something like, yeah. Yeah, cry in the car in between appointments. Right. You wipe your tears, like, all right, get it together. I got another appointment.
What's so funny is that I'm very soft as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm soft, and it takes a lot to get me enraged, right? Like, it takes a lot. And she is the same way. So talking to her and hearing her and what she's going through, I can relate. But it's like, hey, it's time. And that's why I love having you as a partner. Because there's times where I want to, there's, when I'm having a hard time,
Yeah.
And I have you to kind of give me that push.
Yeah. Yeah. And we get each other's back. Cause just like today, I mean, you got in there and you were talking to Audrey about some things, and you were being straight up with her, and afterward you went downstairs, and I think you were making breakfast, and I was kind of getting some stuff together upstairs and cleaning up. And I walk into the bathroom and she's still just sitting there. And not normal. I guess we both get on the kids. But the thing is that we both usually don't get on the kids at the same time.
Right.
So after you had just got on her, I went into the bathroom and I just gave her a hug.
That's awesome. That's good. That's perfect.
And I just told her, I was like, I know you got a lot of feelings going on right now, and you don't feel good, and you got a lot of stuff happening. I was like, and I just gave her a hug, and I gave her a kiss, and I was like, I love you. And I just asked her, I was like, do you want your speaker and your tablet in here so you can listen to music while you clean your room, the bathroom? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay. And I just gave her another hug and a kiss. I was like, you sure? She's like, yeah. And then she, I left. But then you went and you talked to her some more, and she went into her bedroom, and I went into her bedroom too. And because it's continuing, right? So I sat down on her bed. She was laying on the bed, and I gave her a hug. I gave her a kiss on the forehead, and I just told her, I was like, look, no matter how you feel about me and your mom, whether you're super mad at us or you think that we're super mad at you, or whatever's going on, whatever feelings you're feeling, whatever is going through your head, I want you to know that we will always love you. Like, we love you more than anything. Like, this is our family, and this is what's most important to us. You, Joey, us, this is it. I was like, so I hope you know that. And she didn't really say anything. I just gave her a kiss and told her I loved her and walked out. But we do that with each other, because there's times when I'm getting on Joey or I'm getting on Audrey, and from me, it's nothing but, I'm coming at them. And then I stop, but then you'll go to them, right, and you'll tell them something, and I think that's a good, maybe
it's a partnership. That's
at least for me, when I'm blowing up, I should handle that in a different way, better.
And you're working on that, and you're getting better.
Yeah. But I think it's a good dynamic to have both of us.
It is. It's good cop, bad cop.
This shit is scary, man. It is. It is, because usually I'm not the one talking about it, but like when kids are getting super emotional, like she's getting super emotional, and then you do think about the stories that you hear about kids getting emotional and then they do something crazy and kill themselves. And we're nowhere near that point. But the thing is that most parents have no idea that their kids are near that point.
Right. Yes.
And it is scary. So one of the other things I think that we should do is when it comes to these consequences and the different situations that we're having, we have to get on the same page so that the consequences for the actions are consistent and they're the same. One thing about this book, Raising Lions, that they were talking about at the end of the book was when you have parents that are split up or when everybody's not on board for this parenting plan. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, well, doesn't everybody have to be on board? Doesn't my ex need to be on board for this to work with my son or my daughter or whatever? And it's like, well, what they found is no. As long as somebody is following the plan, like it will adjust the kid's behavior over time. Yeah. So it's a great book. And if you guys want to pick it up, go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You can find all of our social media there. You can find our social media there. You can listen to the podcast there. You can watch it there. If you click on the support the show tab at the top, or if you hit the menu button on your phone and you'll see the tab that says support the show. If you click on that, it'll take you to our Amazon link. And anything that you purchase through Amazon doesn't cost you anything more, but it helps out the show. And you also see a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
We are a nationwide mobile notary agency. We do a lot of work with law firms and title companies. So if you are in the process of refinancing, selling, or purchasing, hit us up and we will help you out.
That's trustinkusa.com. We're also affiliates with Libsyn, which is who hosts our podcast. If you guys want to start a podcast, if you have a hobby that you want to talk about, you want to put it out there. If you want to try Libsyn to give it a shot, that's LIBSYN. If you use promo code OAP for Opposites Attract Podcast, you'll get the rest of whatever month you sign up in for free, and you'll get the next month for free. So February is about to start. If you want to start a podcast, I would say sign up maybe February 2nd, and then you'll have the rest of February and March for free.
Yes.
Promo code OAP.
All right. So, yes, that's enough about the book because you guys need to listen to it or read it. It's a great, great book, and it's a book that we will definitely keep as a guide.
So, our next book, we're going to be listening to Superfans by Pat Flynn. And it's about creating a brand. It's a business book. So that's what we're going to get into next month. And I'm sure we'll bring up some things that we learned.
We also decided that every month one of us gets to choose. So that's the book that Miguel got to choose. I get to choose the next one, which is
what's the next one?
Fun.
What are you going to pick?
Something spiritual or
that's all good.
Something about, just self-awareness.
Yeah, that's great.
Yay!
I'll read it. I'll listen to it. So yeah.
Yay. Okay. So
So we've got a lot of things happening right now for the podcast. There's a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of things that are moving quickly. There's a lot of things that we're really, really excited about.
But we're not going to tell them right now, right?
Definitely stay tuned.
Yes.
Because
we are super, super excited. We have a guest that is going to blow your guys' mind.
You guys probably have an idea.
And
not only that, but there's a lot of other things happening. So stay tuned. We have the merch store is coming. Yep. We got a new website coming. Yep. We're working on a lot of things. So
2021 is going to be our year for the podcast.
It's going to be a big year.
It's going to be
make
life-changing.
You guys don't miss it.
Yes. Yes, yes. Hey, do you know where Taco Tuesday came from? Like the other day, I was just thinking, because you know how the kids are always talking, are we having tacos? Today's Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
And I'm like, where in the world did that come from? Because all of a sudden,
the Lego movie.
Just popped up. The Lego movie?
It's Taco Tuesday, Lego movie.
No, it didn't.
No, I'm just kidding. That was already out.
So the earliest reference to Taco Tuesday was found in 1966 at a Minneapolis bar.
Minneapolis?
Bar, yep.
In Minnesota?
Yep. Yeah. And it was a Mexican food. It was a Mexican restaurant.
That's nowhere near Mexico.
Yeah, it's weird. The man had been an Air Force, the owner, cook at Lackland, Ace Force Base, and married a local woman of Mexican family who owned several local eateries.
Yep.
And I guess that's something that they thought of. They went back and were looking for a way to improve the business and rearrange the specials.
And if anybody knows
Tex-Mex, Taco Tuesday.
And if you guys were in the military, you guys know the Air Force knows food.
Yeah.
We're good at food.
Really?
You know what? I heard the Navy ships are pretty good too. because that's one thing that they have. Like if you're out in the middle of the ocean for months, the food at least can cheer you up a little bit. Like if you have good food on the ship,
dude. Well, they say, you know, food and sex are lined up like they're kind of in the same category. The feeling you get after sex is the feeling you get when you shove something great in your mouth.
So Taco Tuesday.
Did you hear what I said? That was good. You're so late. You're so fired.
It's not moving. I missed it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So Taco Tuesday started in Minnesota in the 1960s.
Isn't that crazy?
That's friggin' nuts.
Some dude married a Mexican.
Hey, if you guys have any terms, like these new terms that fucking kids make up, send them to us. Send us those terms.
Like what?
Like these kids, they just make up fucking words that nobody knows what they are. You know what I mean?
Oh, like sass?
Sus.
Sus. It's sus.
Yeah.
I heard my son saying that.
You know what,
and I'm like, what is sus?
So
Suspect?
Yeah. Well,
suspicious? What is it?
I mean, you've never heard, like, that's suspect. You've never said that or heard that before? Really?
No.
That we used to say that in New York. Like, that's suspect. Yeah. But so when he said sus, I was like, suspicious, suspect? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. But no, there's a lot of stuff. And if you guys send them to us.
Old folks have no clue.
If you guys
kids have their own language.
We'll make a little game out of it to see how old we are.
Yeah.
But so I heard that we're getting another stimulus check. I heard the stimulus checks got all jacked. Like half people, like some people got them, some people didn't. We got a second one. And I think there's another one coming. But I think the second one, not everybody got the second one. So in order to make sure that everybody gets the second one, they're going to reissue the second one. I don't know what the hell.
To everybody?
This is the thing though. Like we were hanging out the other day.
Yeah, talking. Yeah.
And we're talking about like, oh, there's another stimulus check coming out. And half the people didn't get it. So they may give another stimulus check out, but then there might be a third stimulus check. And I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, like on fucking Facebook and social media and all this shit, all the broke people are like, fucking yeah, stimulus checks. Like they want to go buy shit.
Miguel and I are looking at each other worried. Like we're worried. Like,
and people that have some sense, we're like, don't you guys worry about where the fuck all this money's coming from?
Right.
Or, you know, how we're going to recover from all this shit.
And who's paying for it?
Because this is the truth. Somebody, I don't remember where I heard this, but it's true.
What?
The government does not have the ability to make money. So the fact that they're fucking just giving out more and more and more and more money, they don't really have the ability to make more money. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a business. Their business is taxes. So where the hell is this money going to come from?
Exactly.
We're going to fucking pay for it one way or another.
Right.
So yeah, stimulus checks are great, but I think we got something coming.
Yeah.
Because I tell the kids all the time, ain't shit free. Yeah. Ain't shit free. You pay for everything. Yeah. You will. Oh, this is free. That's not free.
Yeah.
That's not free.
Yeah.
Somebody's paying. You know?
Okay, on a happy note. No.
On a happy note, a lot of broke motherfuckers are getting rich buying GameStop stock.
Oh,
dude.
Man. I know. That's insane.
Dude, yeah, go ahead.
So Miguel was talking to me about it, about, you know, the stock game. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, so we started looking some stuff up and it went public. GameStop.
It went public years ago.
Yeah, but it started off $10, then $18.
I think it started like $8, $10. So last month, the end of December 2020 and the beginning of January, GameStop stock was at $18 a share. That was the beginning of this month.
That was 2 months ago. Or the beginning of this month?
Beginning of this month. It was at $18 a share. And if you guys don't know what's happening with GameStop, we looked up a couple things. The truth is, there's been so many things happening with the podcast and everything else that we haven't really kept up. But we hear things like, oh, something's happening with GameStop. Like something's going on with GameStop. I'm like, what the fuck is happening with Like what could possibly be happening? Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? It's fucking GameStop. Relax. Video games. Chill.
Yeah.
But something's going on. We weren't paying attention. So last night we're having dinner and I asked Sonja, I'm like, hey, have you heard what's going on with GameStop? And I'm like, she's like, yeah, I heard something, but not really. And I was like, I've heard something too, but I really don't know. I think
we didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
We heard something, but really wasn't focused on it.
So we looked it up. And from my understanding, there's like these billionaire hedge fund people, like the big mutual funds, like they're just, the elite. They have ways where they can make money when a stock wins and when a stock loses. Like they take what I think is called short positions when the stock loses and they can make money. And I think they were, and also because they're so influential, they can say things and things will happen to the market.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, oh, this is happening. Like if they go on, one of the news channels or whatever, and they say, well, my prediction for what's going to happen in the future is this. And millions of people hear that, they start changing the way they're making their investments. And now that billionaire will do something else. Like they gave an example of one guy who said something about the hotel industry was going to die or whatever. And as soon as he did that, their stocks plummeted and he started buying. Yeah. He started buying all kinds of stocks. And then when it went back up, he made money.
Yeah.
So that was, but anyway, so they were doing this with GameStop. Like they saw that GameStop was going to fail or something like that.
But it wasn't them. It was average.
No. This was the billionaires. They took out short positions. Like they put a bunch of money kind of like betting on GameStop failing. But then the nerds on the internet found out and they went to Reddit. And I guess there's this thing called Wall Street Bets on Reddit. And they started going over like all the financial stuff. And they're like, dude, we're gonna jack up Wall Street. So they took just the average people on the internet, like this community of people on Reddit, and they told them, let's all go buy GameStop stock. And we're going to fuck these billionaires up.
Oh, gotcha.
And they did. GameStop stock went from $18 at the beginning of this month to $325 when it closed yesterday. That is insane. That is insane. And billionaires lost a lot of money. And average people made a shit ton of money.
That's awesome.
By doing
awesome.
it and then by investing.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? One of the apps that they're using that's become really popular is called Robinhood.
Oh.
Which is fucking nuts.
I'm going to get on that.
Might be too late. But
well, I'm saying for other things. You think this is it?
No. Well, I think they're kind of looking at other things.
Well, yeah, they're talking now about regulating it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that we saw is like now you got these billionaires like the heads of the stock market. Like, we need more regulation. We need more regulation. It's like, since when do you motherfuckers want more regulation?
Right.
You guys always want less regulation so you can make more fucking money. Now because the average person's making money, you want more regulation?
Right.
The fuck out of here. It's crazy.
They had a taste of their own medicine, I would say.
Yeah.
So, hey, I have a question for you because I know you listen to different podcasts than what I listen to.
Yes.
You know what would be funny? We need to go over our list of podcasts and read it out loud to our listeners because that would be hilarious. Opposites attract.
It is true.
It would be funny. It would be funny.
Yeah. That is true.
But is there a certain, like when you listen to a podcast, how do you choose what podcast you're going to listen to for the day?
So I have an app called Podcast Addict. Some of you guys may be listening on Podcast Addict. But
thank you.
Yeah. So I have Podcast Addict and I just have all my subscriptions, different podcasts on there. And I have a setting. I don't know if I set it up or if it's automatic, but it checks every night and it just downloads the most current podcast for all of the podcasts that I'm subscribed to. And then whenever I want to listen to it, I just scroll through and see what I have downloaded and I pick one and listen to it.
Okay. So here.
And sometimes I feel like I'm going to listen to this today or I'm going to listen to, something funny.
So here's a little insight. Now, so depending on what I feel I need for the day is what I listen to.
Yeah.
So if I feel that I need some uplifting or I want to connect to a deeper side of me, I guess.
Yeah.
I listen to Super Soul Conversation, or I'll listen to...
That's Oprah's, right?
Yep. Or secular Buddhism.
Yeah.
Or, something. But it's funny because you and I were talking, and I'm like, and I asked you that question and you told me, I'm like, well, I listen to whatever it is I feel that I need for the day. Like if I need something motivational. Yeah. Like if I worked out that day and I'm feeling like really good and I'll listen to Bulletproof Radio, because he talks about fitness, health, and how to biohack, our bodies and all this other good stuff. So
like if you're into health, that like you're feeling healthy,
or if I'm feeling down and I need a boost, like I'll listen to secular Buddhism or
Super Soul Conversation.
Yes. Or if I'm not having, and it changes throughout the day. So if I come home to print documents and the kids are here and maybe I go through something with the kids, I'll go to my audio, like Raising Lions or one of my other parenting podcasts that I'm listening to. So depending on what's going on in the day or even the day before that,
to be honest, lately I've been slipping on podcasts a lot, because the only podcast that I have time for is our podcast, because I listen to our podcast, like I've mentioned, once it comes out so that I can get clips and stuff. And then I listen to my friend's podcast. I don't have time for anything else, because, with the audiobooks that we're listening to now and everything else that we have going on, I just, the podcasts start to pile up, and then I have to just start deleting because I don't have time.
And me, because I drive for a living from appointment to appointment, and sometimes I'm driving 30 minutes, sometimes I'm, driving 40 minutes. I listen to podcasts or audiobooks all day. So I have certain things, that I can listen to more of,
Hey, the other day,
Hey.
the other day, speaking about school and the kids and all that, I was doing this geography project with Joe, and it was about the continents. And do you know what countries make up North America? North America.
Yeah. No, not all of them.
So the United States, right? Canada, Mexico. Any other countries that you can think of? I don't know if Central America is not a continent, but I think Central America is part of South America, because that's a continent, South America. But I don't know I think Central America, Mexico's part of the North America. The rest of it, I think, is part of South America. You know what I didn't know?
What?
Greenland is part of North America. Do you know that shit?
Nope.
Like way up there.
I'm looking at you like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Who gives a fuck? But I'm just like, Greenland is part of like North America. We've lived in North America my whole freaking life. It's like I know Canada, Mexico, United States, obviously. Greenland is part of North America?
You were giving me that face.
I was telling Joey, I was like, I had no idea. And he's like, really? And he was like, looks at me like weird, like, you didn't know that?
And that's just being real with your kids. Like when they ask you a question, because kids look at us as if we know everything.
Yeah.
Right? And being able just to tell the kids, I didn't know that. They're like, what? Like we come, they see us more like, oh, so you are.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they gain more respect for you. Yeah. Being able, and it goes with apologizing to your kids when you're wrong as well. Being able to say, you know what, I'm sorry. Like I messed up.
Yep. No, you gotta be able to do that.
Yeah.
I think that I don't, when I apologize to the kids about something, like I don't see what's wrong. Like I've never felt like I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like I'm weak now because I apologize.
Right.
You know what? I've never felt anything like that.
And I didn't realize that's not the norm. I don't know, because we had one of our nieces over and I was working with Joey with his homework, and he was just getting frustrated and upset, and I lost it. And I yelled at him, and I yelled at him. I don't remember what I said, but he looked at me and he said, Mom, yelling at me is not going to help me. Like, he told me that. And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're right. And my niece was upstairs, though.
Big, man.
But Liz, my niece was upstairs, though.
Yeah.
Our niece was upstairs.
Yeah.
And then her and I started talking in the room. She's older. She was 17 at the time. And we were talking. And she looked at me and she's like, that was very cool. And I'm like, what was cool? She's like, apologizing to Joey. She said, I heard. She said, if I would have said that to my dad, I probably would have got smacked in the mouth because that's considered talking back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's how you and I were. I mean, I was raised that way,
yeah.
to not question an adult, because an adult is, you know, always right. The adult is the adult. You are the kid. And I think with all the parenting books that we've read, a lot of times that's the problem. You know, speaking down to the kids and not treating them as if.
Is it the ego? Is it an ego thing? Like, I'm the parent, you're the child. Because I think a lot of times people feel like, even at work, like, you'll have some people that have been doing something for 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. You can't tell them shit.
Right.
Because they know everything about everything.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that have been doing it for 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're willing to listen to anybody.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter the age. Like, we can learn from those that, I mean, we do. Those that are younger than us.
Yeah.
And those that are older.
Yep.
You know? And that's the thing. Just, I think it, you know, just being able to be humble about it.
Yeah. And nobody's more humble than we are.
Shut up. But you know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
You know? It's like, I learned from my little sister. I learned from my big sister.
Shit, in jiu-jitsu, man, we get beat up by lower belts and you learn from them too. I mean, it's life.
Yep.
It's life.
Yep. And if you close yourself off, that's where you're missing. Like, you're just missing out. You're, you know, because if you think you know it all, you're not going to learn anything more.
Yep. So we've been watching a few Netflix shows lately, and we've seen some pretty cool ones. There's, what is it? Blown Away. We've been watching. So season 2 of Blown Away, which is a show where they make glass sculptures and things.
So cool. Like,
it's just it's a show about blowing glass.
Yeah.
And it is super cool. Like, the way they make these things, like, you were like, that's insane. I mean, it's molten glass. Like, it's melting, and you have to blow it and form it and shape it and do all these things. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And then we started watching this other show, which is hilarious, which is, what was it? It was the history of swear words.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, that show is freaking funny. I definitely recommend it. It's with Nicolas Cage. And one thing that we haven't mentioned, if you guys get the audiobook for Raising Lions, Joe Newman sounds exactly like Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He sounds now, the way they talk and what they talk about is completely different.
Yeah.
But in this Netflix show, The History of Swear Words, I think, I was telling you, I was like, I can't imagine. You know what? Maybe like Samuel L. Jackson could do that. You know what I mean? But Nicolas Cage is great for that role, to be the person. But The History of Swear Words is pretty much like every episode, they pick a different swear word and they investigate it. I mean, to the origins of the word, all the way through the history. And it is an awesome show and hilarious too.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend. That was a good one.
Yes. And then I just started Miguel today watching, what was it?
Is it called Surviving Death?
Near Death Experiences.
No, it's not called Near Death Experience. I think it's called Surviving Death. I don't know. You want to look it up?
Something like that.
But it's about people that have had near death experiences and have survived. Well, that's what it means. They survived and then they talk about it. And it's pretty crazy.
It's so cool. Like the one lady that was talking about the one that was pregnant and was about to give birth, and she felt like she knew that she was going to die while giving birth.
Yeah. What'd you think about that?
I can relate. Like she said that after, it was so hard for people to believe her. you know?
Yeah. Even her husband.
Yeah. And the one person that she felt, and
you saw us, right?
I did see us. Because after that, and I don't even want to get into this, so maybe another podcast.
This is the first episode, I think. Look it up. Make sure that's the name of the show. I think it's called Surviving Death on Netflix. But in that episode, in the first episode of that show, there's this lady, like Sonja was saying, she's pregnant, and she has this complication where the placenta, I think, attaches to the baby, and in a lot of cases, the baby dies and the mother dies, right? Mm-hmm. But so after she had got this diagnosis, she went and did the worst thing you could possibly do, right? And start Googling stuff.
Dude, I knew the name.
And what was it?
Because I typed it right in, Surviving Death.
No, you didn't. Shut up, babe. I said Surviving Death. You said near-death experiences.
Hey, same shit. No.
But so she looked it up on Google, and Google said that usually the mother dies and the baby dies. But she told her husband that she was gonna die and the baby was gonna survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was a spiritual experience that I had in 2010, I think. I believe. Was it 2010? I think it was before. Or 9?
No, it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, because the kids went back and, yeah. Anyways, and I tell Miguel, like, that day, something in me changed.
Yeah. I think the difference between... So, the reason that we were talking about that couple, because there was a few different examples that they gave of people that had near-death experiences, but with this one, the lady that was married, she was married to this guy. And this guy...
He's a science
analytical.
Scientist?
No, he does like research, like data analysis and stuff like that. And when you have that kind of personality, a lot of time, I mean, you're not just gonna go with whatever. Like you have to look it up and find the evidence. And
right.
I mean, a lot like my personality.
Right.
You know, when you said that you had this experience, the only difference is that he was always kind of like dismissive, or it was this and this and this and you know whatever. And but I've never felt that way.
You normally
I've always told you that I believe you, but I just don't understand.
Yeah,
because I don't understand. I believe like you're my wife. I love you, and I wouldn't think that you would lie to me or make shit up and just tell me. You know, I believe that you had that experience. I just don't understand it.
But it's not just that experience. It's what changed in me.
Yeah.
After that experience, you know, being able to feel people's energy, and you know, I
now one thing. Do you think that with this lady, after she looked it up, that's when she felt that she was gonna die and the baby was gonna survive, and then she started having these visions. She went to a fountain and there wasn't water coming out, but then all of a sudden she had a vision of just like blood coming out of the fountain and all this stuff, and that was kind of like a vision of what was to come. Or what did you think about that?
I can understand.
Do you think she would have had those visions if she didn't look up the definition of what she had?
Yeah, because what she looked up.
No. I'm saying if she didn't know what she had, would she have those visions?
I think God would have reached her in a different way, in a different manner.
You see, and that's just my brain. Like if she would have said, they told me what it was, and they told me some of the complications or whatever, but they didn't explain I mean, because they don't tell you everything. You can go home and start researching stuff and figure it all out. If she was like, they didn't really tell me anything, but I had these visions and then she died and all this stuff happened, then I'd be like, that's fucking insane. Yeah. But she read everything and then started having the visions.
So
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's you trying to make sense of the situation. Because the doctor and everybody else in the hospital room were floored because she was dead, but she was on the operating table. She died, but she was able to tell those doctors exactly the conversations that we're having, what was being performed, who was standing where, and supposedly she was dead.
There was people that said that the doctor said their eyes were taped shut.
Right.
But the person could still describe like the tools that they were using when they were operating on it.
Because she said she had an out-of-body experience. She could see herself.
I don't know if it was her or if it was one of the guys or whatever, but they said that it was kind of like the patient that died said that what the doctor was using on them looked kind of like an electric toothbrush. Mm-hmm. And the doctor, when they interviewed them, they said, if I had to describe the tools that I was using,
that's how
I might describe it as an electric toothbrush. Mm-hmm. And he's like, there is no way that she would have known that's what we were using.
Right. And when I was going through a situation and I was trying to figure out.
Now that shit's weird. To me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit's weird.
And I was trying to figure out why I was experiencing what I was experiencing. And I was just on this hunt. And I came across Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Conversation. And she interviewed women and men who had near death experiences.
Maybe we should get somebody on the podcast.
And yes, that would be nice. And what they experienced and how it changed their entire life. And I remember listening to these interviews and just crying and being able to relate to, because a lot of times when you go through a situation, you're trying to make sense of it. Like you're like, okay, what is this? Am I going crazy? Like, what is this? Do you and that's somewhat what happened to me. Like I started going to church. I was searching for answers. I started reading the Bible. I started, and after a while, everything just started to make sense, and then it made no kind of sense, and then it started to make sense again. It's like this just ongoing I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just finally I just decided, you know what? It is what it is, and I had to accept that. Like I know I have a gift, and there's no way to explain it. Like even when I try to explain it to you,
there's
like
shit
it's
that you
very
tell me.
hard to explain it to you. There's no way, but I know for a fact that there is a God and that there is this energy, and there are, we all have a spirit, we all have a soul, and it's all connected. We are all connected to this earth. We come in, and how they say, I can't remember what the saying is, but we came here, dust, when you pass, you go back, into the ground, and whatever it is.
Turn to dust.
And the more I look things up, started looking at it, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And some people don't believe, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that, but I know what I know.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to explain it to someone who doesn't believe,
Well, doesn't believe or hasn't had an experience like that. I mean, like, I believe you. And you tell me these things and they sound insane to me. Like I tell you, I was like, that sounds fucking nuts. But I believe that it happened, and I'm just kind of thinking to myself, because my personality, like I'm not going to meet somebody and 10 minutes later pour out my life story on them. You know what I mean? So when you tell me that, I met somebody today and they told me this, this, and this, and I'm like, they told you that? Like after meeting them for an hour?
Yeah, but it's before that, because God, this is going to sound so crazy. People are going to be like, Sonja's crazy. But God downloads messages to me to give to people. And it doesn't happen every day or all day. It happens out of the blue. And it's the strangest thing, but it's so beautiful and amazing. And I really love it. I enjoy it. And sometimes it's rough. Yeah. Sometimes it's rough because it's a message that is very hard to hear, and it's something that they already know, but I don't know these people, I don't know these people.
Yeah.
And I share the message, and all of a sudden I have someone in front of me who's just like in tears, like not just tears, but
bawling.
Yeah. And I can't explain that. Like there's times where I'm arguing with God. Like, you want me to say what?
Yeah.
Hold up. And that's not something that I can explain, but you've witnessed it before, haven't you? You've seen it with me. Like people I don't know if I might be on the phone,
but you've called me shortly after or told me about it afterwards, obviously.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in person.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you do it because usually it's on an appointment or something like that. And like you said, it doesn't happen all the time, and it's not like you know it's going to happen. You just go and you talk to somebody about something.
Yeah.
But crazy.
And I feel that we all have these gifts, and we can all tap into them
and
if we're open to it.
That's something that I told you, like that we don't understand our full capacity, like the brain. You know, people know, like we only use a certain amount.
It's so funny how we talk about it, because the brain, and we only use 10%, 40%, and we might. It's just so funny, because you try to make sense out of it, and I'm looking at you like, what?
This is the thing. If you talk to a magician, they're gonna tell you it's sleight of hand and illusions. It's not magic, but they're fooling you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that what you're talking about isn't real or is magic.
I don't have magic,
but it's an explanation.
I don't know magic.
You know, there is an explanation. It's not like, oh my God, it's magic.
But why does there have to be an explanation for everything? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
you know, when
things can be explained.
When you think about everything that you've gone through and everything that you've experienced and times where you could have died, but you're here today. Like when I look back at oh my God, the stupid decisions and shit that I did, you know, like in my 20s, and just like being so free and not scared of anything. Like there's so many times where things could have went so wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and those 2 car accidents that I had, and the cars being totaled. And you said you went to the towing yard, and when you looked at the Infiniti, you looked at the car and you said, I can't believe you were in that. And I didn't have one scratch. Yeah. You told me that, you know, like, and to me, I feel like, seriously, during those times, I felt protected. I did.
I get it. I understand. And there's a lot of people that feel protected. And I've always told you, when you tell me that, what do I say? There's a lot of people that don't make it out of those accidents. There's a lot of people that get into smaller accidents that don't make it. Mm-hmm. There's some things that it is what it is.
But that's what fires me up, because I know that there's many times where I should have been dead. Like, and I know that there's a purpose. So if I'm here living today, I know that there's a bigger purpose than Trust Inc. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I'm here for a reason. And before, I used to be so impatient about it. Like, what am I here to do, God? Like, and that's something that I always, and I was so impatient about it, you know, and every time I go to church and I get prayed upon, it's like, be patient, be patient, be patient.
Yeah.
You know, because I know that there's a bigger purpose.
Yeah. But your past experiences do have an effect, like big time. I mean, they make you, a lot of times they make you who you are, your past experiences.
Yes.
Or they help to mold you. I mean, I don't want to get into it. The other show that we were watching just now, it was a good show, but it's on Netflix, Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Not my favorite.
It was a good show though.
It was, but it was very gruesome.
It was. It was about the serial killer Richard Ramirez. No relation, by the way. No relation at all. You know.
I got my name from Miguel. My last name.
Babe, could you imagine if my parents named me Ricardo or something like that? Ricardo, like if I had.
You could pass for a Ricardo, man.
But in English, if my name was fucking Richard Ramirez, I would have to go by Ricardo, because I fucking would not go by Richard Ramirez for damn sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's happening? My name's Ricardo. No, Richard. No, Richard. Ricardo. You know what I mean? Don't confuse me with that dude. But man, the one thing that I will say, like I've heard, and I'm sure you guys have heard of, the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. Like, he was one of the worst and most famous serial killers in history. Mm-hmm. And but the way that they shot this docuseries, it's a 4-part series. Man, I don't know if I've seen a documentary shot that way. Like the way they did it was fucking creepy. I mean, it was really good.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about, your experiences. This kid had, Richard Ramirez, he had every possible way that you could abuse and mess up a kid, he went through.
Right.
and he became like the most evil person.
Yeah.
Evil. I mean, had no regard for anybody. I mean, it was bad. It was real bad. But
yeah, so our past trauma.
What we were saying is like, what do you expect? Like they were talking about in the documentary where, I don't know if it was this is fucking unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable that as a punishment, they said that he was tied to a cross and left overnight in a cemetery.
Right.
And he became a serial killer. Big fucking surprise.
Right.
Like, what do you expect?
Right. I mean, there's some of us who've gone through trauma as a child.
Not like that.
Not like that. No, but what I'm saying is still affecting us today, whether it's in our relationship, daddy drama.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Abandonment, all of that. It all affects us as adults.
Yeah.
Things that we've gone through as children.
Yeah. But one of the things that I was watching is like, but they looked at this guy almost as, because he was so evil.
Yes.
They almost looked at him in a way that was like
demonic.
He was superhuman.
Yeah.
Or that he was possessed or whatever.
Because think about.
But this is the thing that I was thinking is like, yeah, there was a case where he shot somebody and the person chased him out of the house.
Right.
Which shows you he ain't no fucking superhero. Like, if you don't have a gun, if you don't have a knife, and you get locked in the room with him, you might beat the shit out of him and kill him and kick his ass. He's not like immortal the way they, because there was people like when he was, it's just that level of evil is hard to comprehend.
So this is what they were talking about, love. Okay.
Good.
I talked to you about energy.
Yeah.
Okay. I can feel bad energy, negative energy. This guy being in the same room with him,
yeah,
I would be filled with negative energy.
No,
negative energy,
definitely. Yep.
That's what they're talking about.
No,
it's just because there's good spirits, bad spirits. This
is what I'm saying is one of the detectives was sitting with him in the interrogation room. And he said that he was talking to him about stuff and he started breathing heavy and he thought he was going to start levitating or some shit.
Well, he said if he starts levitating.
He said if he starts levitating, I'm
out of here.
I'm running.
Well,
But there's other people that because he was the way he was, they felt like he was maybe possessed or like he was from Satan or possessed by Satan because he would say shit like that.
Yeah.
Like people.
No, because that's who he followed. I mean,
but when I was looking at his pictures and all that stuff, like, yeah, that shit is scary. It's scary when you have a person that's just willing to do what the type of things that he did. But I don't see him as superhuman.
They weren't saying superhuman.
No, I'm not saying superhuman, but just he's like, I don't see him as like somebody who's possessed.
He's just a person that
had a very bad childhood, but he's a fucking human just like anybody else. And it's not like he's going to us, he could get what's coming to him just like anybody else could. Yeah. But in this thing, just because of the level of evil that he had within him, people made it seem like he was more than just a regular human. You know what I mean?
No, I understand how you see it because of who you are. Like I believe in God. I believe in good energy. And if I believe in God, then I believe in the enemy.
That's the thing is that if you believe in all that, then this becomes a lot more scary.
Yeah. So I can understand why they said what they said because I would feel exactly how they felt.
Well, and the cop did say that, he is religious. He believes in God and the devil and all that. And he's like, that's why he said if he starts fucking levitating, I'm out.
Like the things that he did.
No, they were, But it's
it's
worth checking out the, just the way that they shot that though. I haven't seen like, it was really good. Really good, really creepy. I mean, if you're into that shit.
Miguel's like, are you okay? Because I'm just like, you know what? I have to process all this. Like,
yeah, I was like, you want me to change it?
But I knew you did. So I'm like, and it was a good show. But afterwards, I had him watching
The Surviving
Death. And it was so great and positive. And it helped me get back to myself.
Yep.
What's so crazy though is that I used to love watching This is something else that changed. I used to love watching horror movies. Like, I loved Freddy Krueger, Friday the 13th, like all those crazy, scary movies. I used to enjoy watching them. And once I became more spiritually connected and more aware and just in that space, like since that time I had that spiritual experience, I don't think I've watched a scary movie.
No, we used to also watch a lot of the, the murder mysteries and the couples killing each other and all that shit, but we haven't watched it. And this is the first one we've watched in a long time.
Yeah, and that's just not something, I don't know, that I'm drawn to anymore.
I'm glad I watched it, but I don't know if I'd watch a lot of, stuff like that. I mean, it was good. It was good, and
yeah.
It's worth a watch.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
But you know what? Make sure you guys check out History of Curse Words or Swear Words with Nicolas Cage. That one was good.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
They got one. They were talking about this lady, Lucille Bogan. If you guys look her up on YouTube, Lucille, I think it was Lucille Bogan. Yeah.
Oh,
and she's got a
I know
song
what you're talking about now.
From the 1930s called Shave 'Em Dry. Oh, man. You would be surprised. It is like the WAP of the 1930s. I'm fucking dead serious. Like she
it's bad.
She went hard.
It's bad.
She went hard. So check it out. But now, I think in a little bit.
She wears a long dress. No?
Yeah, it's crazy. But so now we're going to, like we said, we got some big things happening.
Yes.
And we'll let you guys know what's going on. Make sure you guys stay tuned because you definitely don't want to miss what's going to be happening over the next month or two because we're getting on it.
Woo!
It's going to be good.
And, it's like hard work, like the hustle and just the late nights and the arguments, because we're so busy and just the things that we've gone through, like it pays off. If you're on the path that you're supposed to be on,
you don't make excuses.
You
get busy, you get to work.
Yeah. And I say that like I had to talk to Audrey, about just having to let go of things that are not for you. And this is going to be really quick. But when your passion runs out of whatever it is that you're doing, it's time to cut loose. You know what I'm saying? Because so many people, they have this thing that they started and it was their dream once upon a time. And it's so hard for them to let go because they feel that this is their identity. This is me. And if I quit, people are going to laugh at me or say, see, I told you that wasn't going to work. I told you that wasn't real and it wasn't blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you put your life into this thing and all of a sudden your passion dies, but you don't want to be wrong. So you continue to move on, but the doors keep closing and closing one after another, one after another, one after another, and your passion is dead. Those are signs that it's time to move on. There's something else for you. Like you learned what you needed to learn during that process, during that time. Now it's time to take your knowledge and everything and look for something that you can love, that you can be passionate about. And it's so hard for us to move sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've been through it, so I can understand. So I started talking to her about that. Like, don't continue to do something just because you feel that other people want you to do it. I'm like, if your heart's not in it, and you're not passionate about this anymore, it's time to let go and open a new chapter,
Now, in some instances, there are times when, whether you like it or not, you got to get to work.
Right. But
and on the next episode, we will get into that. Right, babe? Thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for listening. We have some celebrating to do.
Yes.
And we will be celebrating with you guys soon.
Yes. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Continue to share.
Make sure you go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share it with those that you know.
Yes. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.